This is Nitya, and you're listening to Print Action, the podcast. Hello, everyone. I'm Nitya, your host and the editor of Print Action. Today on the podcast, we have B2B marketing expert and regional director of Girls Who Print Canada, Joanne Gore, to talk about the Canadian chapter of Girls Who Print. Hi, Joanne. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Nithya. Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be talking to you, to Print Action, about Girls Who Print Canada and all that we're doing to grow the community of strong, fierce females across Canada who are in the printing and graphics communications industry.
That's lovely, Joanne. First off, let's talk about the community at a global level.
Well, first off, the Global Girls Who Print community was established in 2009. So it's been around for quite a while. It is the largest global professional network for women in the print and graphics communications industry. There are over 12,000 members globally, and that includes not just Canada and the US. There's Japan, there's Africa, there's Australia. There are so many facets of Girls Who Print around the world, and it's so exciting to watch the association grow. Girls Who Print is a women-owned, I got to say this right, it's a 501c3 nonprofit organization. I know that doesn't mean too much for us here in Canada, but it means a lot in the US. And since we are talking about global, it's important that I do mention that. Ultimately, the goal around the world is the same: to use education, events, networking, and mentorship to provide opportunities and visibility to foster personal and professional growth and ensure that all women in print have a strong voice and a bright future.
Wonderful. Now, when was the Canadian chapter launched? I know you did a soft launch at last year's Canadian Printing Awards Gala. Tell me more about when it was launched and why did you feel the need to have a Canadian chapter?
So it's interesting. I'd say it goes all back to D-Scoop of 2025, where I met with Pat McGrew and Deborah Korn, Kelly. I don't know if Kelly Malazzi was there. I can't remember, but met with them and we started having conversations around we need Girls Who Print Canada, and we'd been talking about it, but nothing had ever materialized until that conversation at D-Scoop. At that point, I recognized, you know what, I think the time is right. And so that would have been sort of March of 2025. And then, it took a while to figure out what, how it was going to be, what the Canadian board would look like. I have an advisory board of some really strong, powerful Canadian women, and thankfully. And so, yeah, you're right. The soft launch was sort of in the fall of 2025. Our official live launch just happened in July. July 15th was when we had our first live meetup. We'd had some virtual events. We've been building our LinkedIn private group, really trying to shine a spotlight. But it was that first live event, I think, that really brought the community together and really showcased what we've built so far. And more importantly, really the excitement and the need for this Canadian community for women in print and graphics communications. The live event, for me, it was one of the top sort of 5 highlights for me. It started with, well, how many people do we think are going to show up? And okay, we're lucky if we get 50, we'll be happy with 30. And then it just kept growing and growing, and we had to keep calling back and we had to change rooms because we needed a bigger space. And we ended up with, I think, almost 80 people. I think that's the final number was either 72 or 74. We had over 80 registrants. We had a wait list, and we literally had to put sold out and start a wait list. Thankfully, we had some great sponsors to help us with that event. And even those who weren't sure if they should sponsor came up to us and said, tell us when the next event is, give us at least a month's notice. We're there. We will be there. Whatever you need, whatever support you need, we are behind you 100%. That is really what we're all about.
That's wonderful to hear, Joanne. But just to pause and give some context. So Pat McGrew and Deborah Kahn, they're the brains behind the whole global Girls Who Print initiative, correct?
Well, Deborah Korn is really the figure behind Girls Who Print Global. She is a force, and if it wasn't for her, I don't think Girls Who Print Global would be the powerhouse that it is
Mhm.
today. I can't recall when Pat came on board, but when they became an official nonprofit and restructured, that's when the Girls Who Print leadership team made up of Pat McGrew, Kelly Malazzi, and Deborah Korn was formed.
So for the Canadian chapter, what are your goals?
Our goals are really at its simplest, it's to help women across Canada who are in print and graphics communications grow in their career. It's less about attracting women to the print industry. It's more about helping the women who are in the print industry reach their goals, whatever those goals are, and have mentors, have people that can help them, guide them. There is a whole mentor mentee program as part of Global. When you become a Girls Who Print member, that's a global membership. You get access to everything. There's no separate Girls Who Print Canada membership. We are part of Girls Who Print Global. The good news is all the pricing that you would see is at par for Canada. So if a membership is $40 US, it's $40 Canadian. So, we've worked really hard to make it fair for the Canadian market to take advantage of everything that Global has to offer, understanding that obviously we're a little different. With Canada, that's where sort of the LinkedIn group comes in, because that's where we have the opportunity to have a private group where it is just us having those conversations that are very Canada specific. But with regards to your question again, at its core, our goal is to help all the women in the print and graphics communications industry grow, be stronger leaders, overcome hurdles, get to where they want to be, or help the next generation come up too. I mean, we have some seasoned women in our group, and all we want to do is help the people who are rising through the ranks, who don't know and who are now being exposed to this mind trust that otherwise they might never ever get to see or feel comfortable having conversations with. When we had the event, one of the, again, a lot of the conversation, especially from sort of that younger demographic, either still in university, we had some TMU students helping us at registration. We had some graduate students. We had some, women who are just starting, year one, year two, year three of their career. They're intimidated by a lot of the sort of more seasoned Girls Who Print. And it was just so welcoming to be able to have conversations with them. And they were so grateful to be able to meet and connect and have conversations with people who they always sort of admired and felt with like maybe it's just a little bit out of reach. And what we were able to do was just bring everybody from all different facets of the industry together to have these conversations. And it wasn't salesy or pitchy or pushy. It really truly was, let's get together. We had a little icebreaker activity, and before you knew it, the evening was over. And I know I'm kind of skirting your question, but it all rolls back into what we're trying to do and just become that community where women in print and graphics communications feel safe to have these conversations, feel in control enough that they are worthy of being able to ask somebody like you or me who have been in this for a little more than a nanosecond, world advice. How do you do it? What happens, when you get fired or laid off, or you start a job and you realize oh, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, or, my boss is a bully, or, oh, I feel out of place. There's, being able to have those conversations is so, so important as you start, as you return, as you grow, and as you exit. No matter which chapter you're in your print career, there's somebody who's been there before you, and there's somebody who's coming up after you. So there's always an opportunity to help and share and grow.
Absolutely, yes. So, Joanne, you did mention a few reasons, or tough conversations, that people need guidance with. But it's a little more than that, right? There are certain systemic barriers that women face. So I was wondering if you could shed some light on those.
I would love to be able to say that, the glass ceiling has lowered. Maybe it has a little bit. I think it's more that we've just gotten stronger punching arms and are able to push through it better. I was very excited when I learned that the graphics communications management course at TMU, I believe, was over 80% female this year, if not more. And we've done events with them, and to see this cohort of strong women entering a predominantly male industry was so heartwarming to me, because to me it shows, yeah, we are starting to make a difference. But that doesn't come without, some of the typical challenges that we've faced historically in this male dominated world. You go to the shows and the events, it's still a lot of men. When I walk into a workshop or a session, the first thing I do is count how many women are in the room. And if I count more than 10, I usually feel, okay, that's pretty good, which is in and of itself is kind of sad. I shouldn't have to count the women in the room. It should just be, in my opinion, an equal mix of everybody. And I'm not trying to, be gender specific of women and men. I'm saying that we all have a voice, and we all have the right to express that voice and be part of this industry. Seeing people like Renee Walsh from TI Group be promoted to, basically, she's now running TI Group. That we recognize that, because that happened the day of the event. So we actually did a little bit of a recognition, because that just shows how far we've come. We need more Renees. We need more people at the top of the leaderboard. All of us who are on the board are all very strong leaders. Many of us are running our own businesses. So I think things are shifting, but I got to say, the old boys club is still there. It is still kicking around. I still see it at conferences. I've never been one to shy away from that. I don't care. I'm just inserting myself in the middle of it. I've been that way since I entered the print industry several decades ago. Let's just leave it at that. Several
Yes,
decades ago,
several
when
decades,
there
yes.
were far fewer women, and there were a lot more creepy things going on in the industry than there are now. So I think the creep factor has gone down considerably. It's not gone, but it's gone down considerably. There's still some of that discomfort sometimes, but I think for the most part, there is a lot more of that respect and equality that we've fought so hard for is starting to show. Now, that's what I'm seeing here in Ontario. I'm seeing little pieces of it globally in the States, but I am still hearing the stories that I had hoped we would have overcome by now, that we haven't necessarily overcome.
So clearly there's a need, and you are there to address those issues. So, Joanne, I know Girls Who Print Canada isn't a one woman army. You thankfully have some people to help you. So, share with me who's on your board and who's part of the executive team.
So in Canada, we have a pretty strong group board of advisors. Of course, I am the regional director. I'd say my right hand person who really helps spearhead Ontario is Begum Walji. She's a MarTech professional. Anything to do with AI that you would want to know, Begum is the girl. She's got ideas that even I have to tame, which says a lot for people who know me. Of course, we've got Julie Watson from Ultimate Tech. We've got Christine Yardley from Print Panther Direct. She's an award winner. She's won several print action awards. I think that Julie may have. I know Julie is an award winner as well. I believe she just won the out of Quebec, the CEO of the Year, Quebec CEO of the Year. So again, another powerhouse. Heather Black, really connect recruitment. Her mother, Mary Black, was a force at TMU. So there's a rich history of print there. Chastity Stewart, she's with Wilfrid Laurier University. We've got Natalia Lumby, who's also from TMU. Donna Cormier from TMU. Reem El Asala, also from TMU. So yeah, we got a bunch of TMU folks out there. We've got Renee Walsh from TI Group, who we mentioned, and Hélène Pajot from the ICI. So that's a pretty strong facet of women. We are trying to expand. Of course, we have Quebec. We've got Hélène and Julie working through Quebec. And I believe the Quebec launch is going to be happening in the fall. I've heard October bantered around, so I don't want to say the date, but stay tuned for that. Mark your calendars. November, there will be a webinar as well, like a Quebec-focused webinar. We're looking for advisors from the western side of Canada. We would love to have representation from Vancouver and, of course, from all of the other provinces in between. So we're not trying to be Ontario and Quebec. We really do want to expand that, but that is a very strong, powerful group of women. And, you know, the ideas have been amazing. You know, again, I've been involved with a lot of groups, and there's something to be said about a group of strong women compared to a group of strong men. And it's hard to explain the dynamic until you're in it. And in all honesty, I was a little nervous at first to be part of just women because, you know, you hear, oh, just women, they're catty, they're this, they're not they're gonna seem to be your friend, but they're not, they're gonna steal your heart. Nothing could be farther from the truth. This is like the loveliest group of women that I've had the opportunity to work with. And, I'm just excited that I get to spend time with such smart, powerful women.
That's lovely. And Joanne, I mean, not one of the things that I do want to talk about are the allies. I know there are misconceptions about women groups, but then we also, Girls Who Print Canada also has a strong group of allies. So who are some of the strongest supporters?
So we have a variety of supporters. First and foremost, we have sponsors. So if you wanted to be a global sponsor, there's, sponsorship packages available for Girls Who Print Global. We have our founding sponsors here, consisting of Marketing Kitchen, Ultimate Tech, who was our very first founding sponsor, of course, TI Group, Konica Minolta Canada, and Print Panther Direct. So they're our founding sponsors. They've been with us since the beginning. Then when we have events, we look for our event sponsors to help us with everything from food to photography to marketing to getting banners and prizes and giveaways. So we were so grateful that for our first event, we had Mini Giants, Plastic and Paper, TI Group, Spicers, HB Canada, and Ronick, who all came out to support the event, sponsor the event, and really helped make it possible. So between our sponsors, our board advisors, we've got some folks on our side. We would love more. Again, global sponsorship means that your employees get free membership. So if you're a global sponsor, any one of your team can get free membership. So there's a lot of perks that come with that global sponsorship. But again, if you just want to sponsor an event, that's great too. And you get recognition and, everything, social media, press releases, and we value our partners and our sponsors and our supporters. And of course, all of our male allies. Just because we're Girls Who Print does not mean that we exclude men. We love our male allies. Some of them are our strongest supporters, proudly wear the Girls Who Print Canada pin, proudly wear Girls Who Print Canada swag, and we could not be more grateful for them.
Absolutely. And we need those allies as well as we go about breaking those systemic barriers to professional growth for women, right? So that's excellent that we have them. In terms of activities, Joanne, you mentioned Girls Who Print has a mentor-mentee program, and then you also mentioned the LinkedIn group. Are there any other things that's there on the horizon, Joanne? You're nodding, so there must be quite a bit happening. Tell me.
Yeah, there are a lot of programs offered again through Global. So the ARC is one of those programs, and ARC is the Advancement Resource Center. It really is the framework for career growth. So if that's an area that you are interested, that is exclusive to Global members. There's also the Print University. No matter where you are, again, week 1 or year 31, there's always something to learn. And again, Pat was very generous in opening up the print industry to all Girls Who Print members. So again, $40 Canadian gets you access to all of the global programs, in addition to everything that's happening at Girls Who Print Canada. Joining the LinkedIn private group is where the conversations are happening. We have virtual events, community huddles that we put on. We have our live events. I'm hoping to grow some university chapters. I would love for there to be a Girls Who Print chapter in each of the major universities that support print and graphics communications. I think that could be quite the game changer for us. We're starting to be more active on socials like Instagram and, LinkedIn, of course, is where we will start. But, Facebook, Instagram, especially, hopefully YouTube, I don't know, maybe TikTok, but definitely Instagram is where we're heading next. Again, the mentor-mentee programs is big for us, and that we get emails at least 2 or 3 a week from Kelly, who runs that out of Global, for requests for when a Canadian comes in, then they come to us. So it's that open door opportunity to share resources and really give access to anybody who needs it, to the tools and the resources they need. But yeah, again, for Canada, we want more live events. We've already booked the next live social, and it is going to be happening October, I want to say 18th. Please, I will confirm the date with you. I'm pretty sure it's October 18th that we said we were going to do it. Save the date. And again, if you're a member of the private LinkedIn group, all of the information is going to be shared there. We participate in all kinds of programs. I have no doubt that we will have a presence at Graphics Canada. I don't think Dan knows that yet, but hey, Dan, surprise. Hopefully Girls Who Print Canada will have a big presence at Graphics Canada this year. I'm really hoping for that.
Dan is in fact meeting with my group publisher today. So if I run into him, I will tell him and make sure there's space for Girls Who Print Canada.
Absolutely. That's what we want. We really want to make a mark and really change the landscape. We have to, we can, and we will.
Especially since a lot of students, graduates who are coming into the industry happen to be women, it's vital that they get support.
Absolutely.
So, Joanne, how does one become a member though, finally?
So to become a member, honestly, go to girlswhoprint.org and click on membership and join. And when you join and you show that your address is Canadian, everything will default to Canadian pricing. It's $40, you're there. If you're a student, it's free. Students do not have to pay for membership. put that you're a student and whatever credentials you need. If you want to join the LinkedIn group, the private LinkedIn group, just request joining and I will go in and make sure you're a real person and I will allow you into the group. Or one of the other admins will allow you into the group. It's really pretty simple. We don't want to make it complicated or challenging or put up obstacles. We want to make it fair for everybody. And again, if you're a corporate sponsor, then all the employees can get a free membership as well.
That's wonderful, Joanne. I'm thrilled to hear about this new chapter, and I wish all the best for you for this chapter for Girls Who Print Canada to keep growing and to become increasingly more representative and have as many representation as possible from across Canada. Wishing all of you the best, and thank you so much for the chat today.
Thank you, Nithya, and thank you for all that you and Print Action and Annex Media are doing to help support us and our cause. And again, we couldn't do it without the support of the people who recognize the value and really want to rally behind us and also contribute to our growth.
Thank you, and we're thrilled and happy to support this wonderful initiative, Joanne.
Thanks so much, Nithya.
This has been Print Action, the podcast. Visit printaction.com for more episodes.